This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you, to the glory of God, and to the benefit of all those who listen. This is a lab day. Here's our experience lab. We always thought that folks who were blind needed a PDA, personal digital assistant, or some people say personal data assistant, but I believe personal digital assistant was the original acronym there. And, for many years, that was something like the Braille Mate from Telesensory. I had one. Then I had a Braille Lite for a little bit. I didn't like it as much as I liked the Braille Mate, so I went back to that. Neither one really had the depth of what you would hope for and what even sighted users were using at the time. And sighted folks had their, if you wanted to spend the money, the big name at the time was the Palm Pilot. If you were an owner of a Palm Pilot, you were really something. That was like the Cadillac at the time. And if you didn't want to spend that much, there was like the Sharp organizers, which actually were really, really nice, made by Sharp. I think they called them Wizard, was one of the iterations of them. And, they didn't have any internet connectivity, the Sharp ones and stuff, but they certainly could keep track of appointments. And I guess the Palm Pilots really didn't either at first, but I don't even know. But they could keep track of appointments and, contacts and tasks, as they called them, or various things, And of course, then in the blind community, we started seeing the PackMate, which was supposed to be the answer to all of this, but really it just felt like a small version of a Windows PC running JAWS, and it had all the, the quirks of such a device, and I was more of a fan of it in theory than in actual practice, right? I had a Parrot VoiceMate for a while, but you were always hoping something mainstream would be able to do the job. And we all kind of thought maybe that was the iPod Touch when that was released. But of course, the iPod Touch actually followed the iPhone. And so we thought, well, maybe that's the way to go, but we just didn't know. But praise God, these iPhone, iPad devices, they have, and the iPod Touch when it was, in existence, they have these apps like calendar and reminders. And we can really make use of these. We don't need third-party apps even. And so today's lab is going to be about that. We're going to make some reminders. We're going to make some calendar events. And I want to answer the question, what's the difference between calendar and reminders, and how would I use one, or when would I use one versus the other? And I'll start out by saying that, as we say with a lot of things, it's personal preference, right? Okay. There is not necessarily an exact right or wrong, but there is a recommended and there is a like by design way to use these. And so that's what I want to define for you. When we think of calendar, we should be thinking events, appointments. Up until 2020, I probably would have said, they would be something that you'd actually go to, an event that you'd actually go to. Of course, 2020, that all became virtual for many of us for a long time. And now, as before, there's still a mix. An event doesn't have to be something you physically show up at. It can be online, but it's something that is going to take place at a specific time. I'm going out to lunch at 12:15 p.m. Tomorrow, or whatever date. I actually did it today at 12:30, and yesterday. But I'm going to my my daughter's chorus concert. It's on the 15th at 7 or, these kinds of things. They're actual, and again, it can be online stuff too, right? I've got that online Zoom meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. So these are calendar type things. And that is how I view and how I believe the calendar was designed, because it has features that are really going to a benefit to you when you are creating events like that. Now, it can also be recurring events. It doesn't have to be one-time events. It can be, I do this particular thing every week on Tuesdays, or a lot of other recurrence patterns. And then, really and truly, there's a lot of things that we can do within those confines. Now, the Reminders app is more about tasks that need to be completed, and you can make lists of different tasks. There is a default list for you. It's called Reminders. If you use family sharing, which is, where you've got up to 6 people in a family, they can have a shared reminders list, also known as family. And that way, if there's a reminder that, it applies to everybody in the family, which there's a family calendar too, by the way. The family calendar, again, is shared among all the people in your family share group. Plus, you can manually share individual calendars or reminders lists, right? And but the family reminders list is one that everybody can contribute to in the family, and you can even assign certain tasks on that list to individual people. If it's my son who is supposed to do this, and my daughter is supposed to do this, and I'm supposed to do that, my wife's supposed to do that, you can put assignments for each of those items on the list. And of course, associated with a reminder on any particular list can be various alerts, which could be at a certain time, on a certain date, at a certain location. It'll set up a geofence, remind me to call my wife when I leave work, and so that, when it'll notify you at that point in time when it senses you've left that particular location as you define it. There's even an option, a person-based reminder. It'll say, remind me when messaging. So if you happen to be, texting with a certain person, it will know that, and it will remind you then to tell that person whatever it is that you wanted to be reminded of, or whatever. So that is more of your reminder type, water the plants every Sunday at 7 p.m., pay the bill, pay the electric bill every month on the 20th or whatever. And those are kind of the by design purposes for these, because they have specific features that make them best for that. Again, there can be crossover, and people will do what they want to do, and that's fine. You can use, either one for things. There's a lot of people who will put things on the calendar that I personally think should be reminders, right? And that's okay. It's personal preference. They didn't ask me, right? And even if they did, they could make their own decisions. As a matter of fact, my wife has our monthly, or however, I guess it's every 2 months, 3 months, I forget now, that we give our dog her flea and tick medicine. And she's actually got that on the calendar, which is fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you can, expect that there will be some crossover here. Some people use the calendar to define things that happened in the past, because you can go back and look. And so they'll say, on such and such a date, this was the date that I last had my furnace filter changed, or whatever, and they'll put that on there. So there are iterations and variants and gradients and, all sorts of things here that people will do. But I'm telling you what I believe, based on the design of these, makes the most sense. I think the calendar is for actual events and meetings and appointments, and things of that nature. And then the reminders is more for tasks. We're going to add one other element to this, which is that in the Reminders app, I told you can have multiple lists, and I talked about 2. The default one, which is just reminders, and then the family one for family share groups, which gets created if you set up a family share group. These are both in iCloud, so they'll sync, of course. And then another thing you can do now is they now have a grocery list template in the Reminders app, and I'm definitely going to show you that, because it's my favorite grocery app now. I that's always been a big thing for me. Ever since I was a kid, I saw the possibilities, and I used to go with my parents to the store carrying a Braille mate, and again, you had to manually like delete each item once you bought it and stuff. There was no way to make a usable or really useful list there. But as time went on, when we got the iPhone back in 2009, I began looking then for grocery apps, and I've always thought it's a very targeted kind of thing, and I've always had mixed feelings about different apps, and I'll use one for a while and then I'll try something else, and well, Reminders just nails it. It just nails it. And it's so easy. And you can have a grocery list template. It's got categories already predefined. And so it's super easy. Now you can add categories to any list that you choose to, and they don't have to be grocery store kinds of categories, right? So if you're making, let's say you got a trip coming up, you're going on vacation, and you make a travel list in your Reminders app for this vacation, you can certainly have categories of things. Let's say it's a packing list, right? So you can certainly have categories of things you need to pack, clothing, toiletries, electronics, you can do that. The difference is you're going to have to put the reminder items in categories yourself. The grocery list is pretty intelligent already. And so, if you add milk to the grocery list, it knows that that's a dairy product and it automatically puts it in the category. There's some room for opinion, though, right? Because, if let's say I put sausage on the list, that might show up in meat. And, maybe I get the frozen kind. So I might change that to frozen because that's where I'm going to find it in the store if I want to get the frozen kind. So, you can always do that too. But basically it nails these categories really well for you. So, all right, let's start with lab time, and then we're going to give you an assignment to try. And you can, in case you didn't come to last week's lab, the way this works is I'll do some demos. Now, some of the labs will be other people doing demos. Some of them will be interview style. One of us will interview another, or we'll interview a guest or what have you. But we'll do some demos, show you some things. I'm not going to. Again, this is in case you didn't attend last week. I'm not going to give step-by-step instructions. That's for Mondays. So Wednesdays, I'm going to do a lot of demoing and very little talking. And then we'll let you try it. We'll give you, 5 to 10 minutes to do your own, whatever we assign or ask you to do. And then we will welcome your comments and how things are going for you. Of course, I happen to have an iPhone right here.
6 p.m. Weather, 75 degrees, mostly cloudy, high.
All right. Let's just start out with some very basic things here. And I'm even going to use our good friend, our personal assistant here. And I say something like this. What is on my calendar for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, you have 3 events. All day tomorrow, Matt's birthday. All day tomorrow, Matt's birthday. And all day tomorrow, Matthew Grayson Bob.
Okay, it really wants us to know that it's my birthday tomorrow. Now, I didn't do that. I did not do that for that reason, I promise you. But I think the reason it's on there 3 times is because when I first got my iPhone years ago, I was not aware that the best place to put birthdays was in the contact card. And that really is the best place to put birthdays, not in the calendar. When you put them in the contact card, they automatically show up in the calendar, in a birthdays calendar. But I didn't know that back in 2009. And so I think I added my birthday to the calendar itself as an annual event. And I don't know why it's on there the 3rd time, to be honest with you. Maybe because, well, I don't know. I could speculate, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, okay, so now let's try something else that is not a birthday or is not, let's a different query. Let's ask it when. Yeah, let's ask it when church is. I know the answer, but let's ask it. When is church on my calendar?
You have 25 events for Sunday until November 24th, 2023. On Sunday, you have 25 events, all in the morning. Here's the first one. From 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., You have church at Christ Victory.
Now, there's a lot of other stuff that it's probably reading here, but you get the idea. You can ask it so there's two ways of asking. What's on my calendar for, such and such a date? What is, when is, something, as long as your naming is pretty accurate, like, when is my dentist appointment? Something like that. And so it's very good to use SIRI. You can use her to create events as well, and I have, but I prefer to do it in the calendar because you get a lot more granular control over things. So what I'm going to do, again, the lab idea is to teach you experiences rather than concepts, and we're going to show you how things actually work, and we're going to, give you some real world examples. So I'm going to open up my calendar here.
Universe.
Oops, I'm not even on the right page.
Tap to open.
Not even on the right page, guys.
Notes. Reminders.
Okay.
2 tasks. Clock. Mail. Camera. Photo. Calendar. Wednesday, October 25th. Double tap to open. Calendar. Saturday, October 28th.
I was pausing there because I wanted to see if I had any notifications that might indicate that somebody sent me an invitation and I might have missed it, or that my wife or kids added something to the calendar which would show up as a badge. And then I would go down to the bottom here and I'd look for the inbox.
Inbox button.
And it would have a number, but there's nothing. There's nothing that I needed to be aware of. So, we might speculate based on what we know that there'd be a button on the upper right to add an event to this thing.
Add button.
Yep, and there it is. Now, before I do that, and I don't know if my good friend Janie is here today because I didn't look at the list, but I'm looking forward to seeing Janie at the NFB convention in November. And I've already got the convention on the calendar as a general hotel stay, because when I booked the hotel, the confirmation email gave me the ability to add that to the calendar. And so it's on the calendar as like stay at the particular hotel name that we're staying at. But I want to actually put my presentation that I'm supposed to give on the calendar because I'm certain that Janie doesn't want me to forget that I actually have a presentation to give. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here first and I'm going to try to look at when this thing is on my calendar. Again, I know the answer, don't worry, but I want to look and see, so to show you how you might do this. So let's just touch the screen and see where we are.
Wednesday, October 25th, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m.
Okay, so we don't want to do this interface the way that it is right now. Probably let's how do I want to best do this? I'm going to go to the upper left.
October, back button. October.
Okay.
Months. Tuesday, October 31st. Tuesday, Wednesday, November 15th. Months. Saturday, Friday, November 10th. Thursday, November 9th. All day.
I've double tapped on that. Now I could also go up here to the top.
November list button.
And I could hit list. And list would just list all of my events. Another thing is I can use the rotor here with my focus on the calendar.
Thursday.
And
vertical navigate events.
Events. And I can swipe up and down.
Stay. Sheraton Edison.
And there it is. There's my event that is already on there for that date. That's the stay at the hotel. Now I'm going to add my presentation and I'm going to attempt to find the address of the hotel without having to go to the NFB website. Now, if the calendar doesn't find the address, then again, this is a lab. So we're teaching here by experience. So I'm trying to tell you how I would do this. I'm going to try the calendar first because the calendar has Apple Maps built into it. So there's no reason that it ought to not find the address of the hotel that the presentation is going to be at. But if it didn't, what would I do? Well, I would either do one of two things. I'd look for the email from Janie or from the NFB, or I would go to Safari and I would go to the NFB website, or I'd do a Google search if I didn't know that even, and I'd search, 2023 New Jersey NFB convention, what have you, and it would show me. I guarantee you it would, because it did before. So I have options, but I don't even think I'm going to need them. So let's
add button. Text field is edit. Text field is editing. Title. Character mode.
Title. Okay. Title. Let's just call it presentation. Okay. And that's in there.
TTG text, clear text button.
Now, well, look at this. If I swipe to the left, it's got the title.
Text field is editing, presentation, character mode,
and then
clear text button.
You remember what that is, but look what it does. It gives me suggestions here that it thinks I might want.
TTG tech presentation with tech it out with Vista section.
Now, that's not actually correct.
Thursday,
okay,
November.
that was a presentation but that's not what I want. But it's very nice of SIRI, which is really what that is, to work in the background and know these things. She's very smart. But in this case, that's not what I want. So we appreciate it, but we're just going to move on.
Revolutionize your life with Apple NFB presentation. Thursday, November 9th.
And that one was, that actually is interesting because we have a new era of empowerment, but it's got an NFB presentation here. I wonder if it's got a location. No, these are old ones. These are old ones. So we're not even going to bother with those. We're just going to do our own. So we could pick one of those though. Okay. But
location or video call.
Location or video call. Is this a video call? No, I'm going to be in person. So we're going to double tap here.
The search field is editing. Enter location or it.
And I need to search for the name of this hotel. So I'm going to type it in. And let's see. Oops, I misspelled it there. And I think I'm spelling this correct. Let's see.
Location, heading, cancel. Search field is editing.
There's my search field.
Clear text.
Wait a minute. Did I type that right? Hold on. I need to listen. Yeah, I did. Okay. Now let's see. Go to the right.
Current location.
My current location. Don't want that right now.
Map locations.
Map locations. Let's see what we've got. Here's what I think it found. I think it's got it.
Edison, New Jersey 0.
It's got it. It's got it. See, I don't even have to go to the website. I've got it. Praise God. We're going to double tap. That's my current. Okay. Now.
New ad. Presentation. Text field. Crown plus presentation.
You know what? I should really call it what it is. So let's go presentation. A new era of empowerment. We're gonna make this title a little more meaningful. Let's go back into the title field.
Insertion point at start.
And we're even gonna say NFB, because why would we not want to do that? So we're gonna say
Cap N, Cap F, Cap B, space.
Now we got
NFB,
presentation.
or presentation characters. N.
Put a space.
No space.
Put a hyphen.
Hyphen.
Put a space.
Space.
And call it a new era.
Cap A space. Cap N W space new. Cap E O A F space M P O E O M E N T.
Okay.
Text field is editing. NFB presentation. A new era of empowerment.
That's a lot more meaningful now. Okay. And then
clear text. Crown Plaza Edison.
the location's already in there now.
Clear text. All day. Switch button off.
Okay. The stay is a couple of days, but my actual presentation is not all day. So now let's go to the right.
Starts 2 p.m. November 9th, 2023.
Of course, that's actually pretty close. That's actually pretty close. But I'm going to go into this because there's no point in me not showing you what it looks like, right? So this is not actually this is not actually a button. It's not clickable. It's just information.
It starts 2 p.m. November 9th, 2023.
Now I think that's the Thursday. Let me just ask our friend here. What day of the week is November 9th?
It's Thursday, November 9th, 2023.
Thank you very much. Okay. That is not the correct date. That's what I thought. That's basing it on the stay, but the actual presentation is on the 10th. So we have to change it anyway. So let's go over here.
Clear tap all day. Starts 2 p.m. November 9th, 2023.
Now, remember, that's not a button. So I'm going to go to the right.
November 9th, 2023. Button. Collapsed. Double tap to expand.
That's what we want. That's where we can change the date. So let's double tap to expand.
November cancel button.
All right, it moves me over there. Let's tap on the screen.
Monday, Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday.
Up a little higher, up a little higher.
Cancel. All day. November 9th, 2023. Button. Expanded. 2 p.m. Button. Collapsed.
There's the time.
Month. November 2023. Button. Adjustable. Double tap to change month and year. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
We just learned something if we didn't know already. I'm pretending I didn't know. And I just learned that says it's adjustable and it's a button. So that's maybe what we'd call a hybrid element, right? In other words, I can use it as a picker, but I can also double tap it. And the hint told me double tap to change the month and the year. So I guess if I were presenting in November of 2027, I would double tap that to show the year picker, because rather than having to scroll through every month from now to 2027. But since it's this year in 2023, I don't need to show the year picker. And it said that this is adjustable. So I could swipe up and down if I want to change the month. I'm in the right month, but let's just show you anyway.
December 2023, January 2000, March 2024, December, October to November 2023.
That's what we want. Now, what I have here is a calendar, and it's got all 30 days of the month of November. I really don't want to scroll, even though it's only on the 10th. That wouldn't be bad to swipe 10 times to the right, but there must be an easier way. And there is. So let's go to the right.
Wednesday, November 1st, button.
Okay, I'm going to set my rotor to something we've not really used. Vertical navigation. I taught you about it, but let's set the rotor to vertical navigation.
Vertical navigation.
And swipe down one time.
Wednesday, November 8th.
So what that did is that took me a whole week down instead of just one day at a time by swiping right. Go to the right now. 2 times.
Selected. Thursday, Friday, November 10th, button.
And double tap.
Selected. Friday, November 10th.
Swipe back up.
Friday, November 3rd. Third month, November 2 p.m. button.
If I wanted to, I could expand the time picker. And, the time picker is going to remind you a lot of what you have in the clock app. If you recall, when we taught you the clock app, we showed you the hour picker for the alarm and the minute picker. And we said you could also double tap on the minute picker, and then you could manually type the time in if you prefer to do it that way. And then there's an AM and PM picker. So I'm not going to show you that because I'm going to leave it at 2. That's not exactly when my presentation is, but that'll get me there a little bit early. So I'm not late. Maybe I'll listen to somebody else give a presentation first. And so we're going to leave it at 2. All right. Just for the sake of that, we're not even going to bother changing it.
Month, Wednesday, November 3rd.
Okay.
November 10th, 2023, button. 2 p.m. button. November 10th, 2023, button. Expanded.
I should collapse that.
Double tap to collapse. November 10th, 2002 p.m. ends 3 p.m. November 10th, 2023.
Now that's not correct because my presentation's not actually at 2 and it's longer than that anyway. So I need to change the end time. The date is still correct.
November 10th, 3 p.m. button. Collapsed. 3 p.m. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 4 of 12.
It, I think, really ends at 4:30, but just to be safe, I'm going to make it 5. So let's just go
5 o'clock, 5 of 12, 00 minutes.
And there's the minute, and we're going to let that alone.
PM. Picker item.
We'll let that alone, and now move on.
Time zone, New York, button.
The time zone is correct.
Travel time, none, button.
All right. Travel time's not really going to be accurate if I use my home as the starting location because honestly we'll already be there, but I want to show this to you because this is a really useful feature.
Travel time, switch button, off. Double tap to toggle setting, on. Starting location, 4.
And it has my home in there. Now what I could do is double tap on that and I could change that to the location where I'll actually be. And that would be the most meaningful thing to do. But then if you go to the right, I just want to show this to you.
Select a starting location to automatically determine travel time, or select a time below. Selected, based on location, 3 hours, 45 minutes.
So if I'm actually driving that from our home, it's going to be 3 hours and 45 minutes. That is a current travel time based on real-time traffic conditions right now. If, in fact, there is a change in the traffic, that will update. And it's going to be really useful because you also, by the way,
5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour.
So you can pick these different options. And sometimes it'll have multiple, like that one's driving. Well, it's not going to have me walk all the way to Edison. But, you'll see different things there. But then I can manually pick these times as well. And then I could just go back here.
1 hour, new event, back button, new event, travel time, 3, repeat, never, button.
Okay. Does this event repeat? Well, not technically. I mean, we do have it every year, and I'm honored to think that maybe I'll be invited again, but we don't know. And also, we don't know what the dates will be and everything like that. So it's not really a recurring event in that sense of the word, even though it is. But I want to show you the recurrence options a little bit here because they're really cool.
Never, button.
So you got never.
Selected, never.
And that's selected already.
Every day, every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every year, button.
All right, those 5 are the most common ones, right? Every day, every week, every couple of weeks, every month, and every year. But what if it's something weird? What if it's like on the 3rd Tuesday of each month or something? That's where you go to custom.
Custom, button.
And let's just look at some of these.
Dismiss context menu, custom, button. New event, back button, custom, heading, frequency, daily, button.
You can
Daily, button, weekly, monthly, yearly, dismiss context menu, button.
So like if we say weekly.
Weekly, button.
Now let's look here.
Event will occur every week.
Okay.
Sunday.
Now hold on.
Every week. If every week.
That's editable.
Every week. 1. Picker up week. Picker item. Adjustable. Every week. Frequency. Every 1, 2, 3. 3 of 999.
So we got now every 3 weeks. Look at this.
Week. If it's Sunday. Event will occur every 3 weeks.
Now we can choose
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I think you know the days of the week, right? Let's say it occurs every Wednesday and Friday. Let's say it occurs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Monday, selected. Wednesday, selected. Friday.
And now let's listen to what we have.
2 weeks. Pick event will occur every 3 weeks on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Look at how you can customize this stuff. So again, this doesn't apply to what we're doing. So I'm going to actually go back.
New event, custom, frequent, new event.
After all that.
Repeat every 3 weeks on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Repeat.
And we're going to
never button.
Change it back to never.
NFB presentation. Notes. Text field. NFB. November 10th. Repeat. Never. Calendar. Home button.
Now, this is where I have multiple calendars I can pick from. Home is the default. Really, this is a work event, so I should put it on the work calendar, except that I'm actually not going to. My whole family's going to be with me, praise God, my kids and everything, and we're going to have a good time. So I'm going to put it on the family calendar so that everybody in the family knows.
Gmail, family, iCloud.
Now you say, why in the world do you have a Gmail calendar? Are you not as loyal to Apple as we thought you were? People are starting to talk. Nope, it's not anything. It's got nothing to do with that. The reason I have a Gmail calendar on here is because we have a couple of Google smart displays in our house. We also have HomePods. We also have Echoes, but we, praise God, we can do that. We got a couple of Googles, and those can display events on the calendar on the screen. And the only way to get them on there is to put them on a Google Calendar. I don't actually recommend using multiple services together in your calendar app unless you really know what you are doing, because we've had so many customers who don't realize they're using different accounts like that. And then they'll come back and they'll say, my devices aren't syncing. I just added something to the calendar on my iPhone and it is not on my iPad. And what you'll find out when you do a little digging is that they have a different, it defaulted to Google on their iPhone, and they never set up Google on their iPad, or they're not showing Google. So I really don't recommend that unless you're really comfortable with it. And I will also say this, as much as I have that on there for that purpose, I hardly ever use it because I'm an iCloud person and I still use that all the time. And I'm not going to use Google now either. I'm going to keep swiping to the right to my iCloud ones.
iCloud.
Then I can ask my HomePods and stuff too.
Selected. Home button. TTJ training. Public and shared with Cliff. Family. Shared with Jessica Volbrand.
There's my family calendar. That's what I want.
Travel time. 3 up. Repeat. Calendar. Family. Button.
All right.
Invitees. None. Button.
I could invite other people to this by email. Preferably their Apple ID. That's the best one to use because it'll automatically show up on their calendar in the inbox as a notification. They can accept it or decline it as they see fit. But if you don't know their Apple ID and you don't feel it's appropriate to ask what email address they're using for their Apple ID. You can send it to any email address and it will come as an email invite if it's not a known Apple ID.
Alert, default, 1 day before, button. Second alert, time to leave, button.
Now you can change these alert times, but that's what I have for default. And you heard that it's got a 1 day before and it's got a time to leave alert. So when I put that travel time in there, it actually will notify me at the correct time when to leave. You just got to make sure your starting location is correct so that you get the right time to leave. And then
add attachment button.
So if I have maybe a handout or something, I can attach it right here.
URL text field.
If there's a website that's relevant or related to the event, I can add that right here.
Notes text field.
And I can add personal notes that I might want to add to this, remember to bring whatever it is that I might need to bring to that event or whatever. And then up at the top right, well, first of all, up at the top left,
cancel button
is a cancel button if I don't want to schedule this.
Add button.
On the right, there's an add button if I do.
Add calendar, November, back button.
And of course, this immediately syncs with my iPads. I can do it on my HomePods, my Apple Watch, and even the Mac. So it is, that's how easy it is to create events. We showed you a couple of ways to find events. You can use Siri to create event. One other word of caution that I want to tell you when you use her to do it, though. Be very careful not to use the word with unless you actually want to send email invites to people. Now, that's old advice that goes back a few years. Maybe they've updated it and maybe they've changed this. I could possibly stand corrected, but I don't know. I haven't tested it in a few years. But for the longest time, if you would say the word with, it would assume that you automatically want to send an email invite to that person and add them as an invitee. And it can be sort of the, colloquial way of like, create an appointment with Dr. Jones next Thursday. Well, you're not inviting Dr. Jones to that event. It means that your appointment is, so maybe the way you would say that instead is like, add Dr. Jones checkup to my calendar or something like that, or create an event called Dr. Jones, whatever. That's going to be the proper syntax, the phraseology for that. So just be aware of the use of the word with. As I said, it theoretically is possible that that's changed and that it's not a big deal anymore, but just be careful about that because you don't want to, inadvertently send somebody an email that they don't really need to have. So that is our calendar demo. And of course, I also can do some demos here for you with, I could have done, there was a lot of things that could have sort of changed the process there. Like I mentioned to you that if we couldn't find the address, I could have gone to the website and I could have done all those things, just to give you an example of what that might have looked like,
3:11 p.m. calendar.
If I didn't find it, and I know I have it in, an email, but rather than, letting you hear all of my emails read to you, I'll just do this.
Doc, Safari
Address,
and tech voice, clear text, address, quotation 2023, semicolon.
Oops, I forgot to change my
exclamation.
Okay, 2023 NFB, and we'll say
space
of New Jersey. And I don't even probably need to put convention. Maybe I might need the word convention, but I doubt it.
Web page loaded. Web dialog. Sign into Google.
No, I don't want to sign into Google right now.
Access. Stay signed out.
Okay. All right.
Shopping.
Go to headings.
Vertical navigate buttons. Full heading. Search results. Web results. State convention. National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey. Heading about this ellipsis. People ellipsis 2023 NFB-NJ State Convention Registration Form PDF. State Convention ellipsis People Web results National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey Live the life you want. Heading level 3. Link. Google.
Let's go to that
link,
one.
Image. Main content. Home. You can live the life. What is the National COVID network? Heading. Contact on. Social Security. Resources. Volunteering opportunities.
Now I'm looking for anything that might relate to the convention here.
So you can the national since 19. What is the national? Click here to learn more about the NFB. COVID. The National Blind Parent NFBNJ would like to show NFBNJ Town Hall Zoom National Convention. Heading level 2.
Well, not the national convention. That's not what we want.
State Convention.
There we go.
Level 2. The NFBNJ State Convention is the largest gathering of blind people in the state. Click here to learn more about State Convention. Link. Click here to learn more about main content.
And of course, I'm acting like I don't have a clue here, but I'm trying to learn. I don't know when the convention is or where it is or whatever. So I'm just showing you what this might be like. That's the purpose of these labs. Headings.
State Convention. The National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey State Convention is the largest gathering of blind people in the state. National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey 47th Annual State Convention. Heading Thursday, November 9th through Sunday, November 12th, 20,223. Theme. It began. Register and make. The 47th Annual State Convention of the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey will be held at.
Here it is.
Crown Plaza, Edison. 2055 Lincoln.
And it's got the address and everything. Now, what's another way I could do that if I didn't find it on the NFB website? And by the way, that was pretty easy. Of course, their website is set up quite well. What's another way that I might be able to do that? Well, I heard somebody say in conversation, this year it's going to take place at the Crown Plaza in Edison. So I could, I could always do something like this with, again, our friend, the personal assistant. I'm looking for the Crown Plaza Hotel in Edison, New Jersey.
I found one option. Crown Plaza Edison on Lincoln Highway in Edison. About 214 miles to your east, and it gets 4.1 stars on booking.com. Is that the one you want?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. I can call that location or get directions. Which would you like?
Call that location.
I don't see a New Jersey.
Whoops, okay.
access.
Sorry about that. Anyway, so I could have gotten directions, which would have given me the address. It actually would have shown me the address right then and there because it would have opened it up in Apple Maps and it would have started navigating so I could see the address. I also could have seen it on the screen. Once I started talking to Siri, instead of letting her ask me the next question, I could have tapped the screen to interrupt her and I could have seen it on the screen. Or yet one other way is I could go into maps. So
contacts, notes, weather, maps, double tap, map, my location.
And let's look at maps a little bit here.
316.
I like these labs. They're a lot of fun because I get to just kind of show you these cool features. All right. So let's see. I want to search.
Locations, mom, work, home, more, favorites, profile, dictate, search maps, search field, cap R out the N L A Z A space
Crown Plaza, and I just have to put the yeah, that's right. Okay, and we're gonna put Edison. Whoops, missed the There we go. Okay, search
map. Crown Plaza, Edison, 214 miles, 2055 Lincoln Hop, close button. Holiday in Crown Plaza, Edison, 216 miles, 125 Raritan Center, Quai, Edit, Crown Plaza, Edison, 214 miles, 2055 Lincoln Highway.
And we'll double tap on that. Now,
my location, 41.
I've got the business card, the place card for that hotel. We can see what they say.
Add stop, reorder, my location, reorder, ride, but, cycle, transit, walk, selected, drive.
I actually got into the directions here. I could see what the directions look like, and
close.
There's the close button, which show me these.
My location, reorder, Crown Plaza, Edison, reorder, add stop, button.
We can add a stop. We want to stop for food or something along the way.
Now. Button.
We're leaving now. We could change that to a different departure time.
Avoid button.
We can avoid tolls if we want or things of that nature.
3 hours, 51 minutes, 244.
And you notice it changed the time a little. It was 3:45 before, now it's 3:51. So there must be getting into rush hour a little early, but some kind of traffic.
Go button.
We can start it out.
Avoid. Go button.
If I tap on this,
3 hours, 51 minutes, 244 miles. Fastest route. Tolls required. Button. Activate to show trip details.
Activate to show trip details. So if I double tap on that, it will actually show me the step by step if I want to see what the route is. You know, I say, well, how's that going to take me there? But to the right,
go button.
That's where we actually start navigating. But back here,
3 hours, 51 minutes.
I can double tap on that and it'll show me each of the, the steps. Turn right here and turn left, Now let's go back.
Add reorg, crown, reorg, Milo, ride, cycle, tramp, walk, selected, close, button.
Now,
Crown Plaza Edison, holiday and Crown, something missing? Add a missing place, button. Add a missing holiday and Crown
okay.
map. Crown
So this already is showing me,
card control,
and there's something called a card controller on this screen, and you can hear that.
Card controller, half screen, button. Double tap to expand the sheet. Actions available. Expand, collapse, activate, default.
Those are my actions. What this is it's the overlay for the place card of the business that we chose. In this case, the Crown Plaza. So the overlay kind of covers part of the screen so that you can still see the directions while you're navigating, but you can expand that card to be full screen if you need more information than what you're seeing. And there are two card controllers here, and we got two found. So let's see. You have rotor actions on your places.
Share. Activate.
Okay, you can share the place that way. Let's see what else we have here. All right, I guess that's you have all kinds of different options for multiple routes. And again, you can choose whether you're using the transit or you're driving, all those kinds of things. Now, the other thing you have is, let's see, is there anything else I want to show you here? You can add a missing place. You saw that. All right, let's go ahead and close that one. And let's just show you, now I'm going to move on to something else. While I'm in Maps, I'm thinking about dinner. And I know I have a guide set up with a whole bunch of restaurants that I like in it. So let's go to that guide and see if we can find some place for dinner here.
Search suggestions. Margaret and Corey Bien Earth Faith Hotel. LVCR FTs. 10 haunted place. Explore guides.
Okay, these are suggested places. Give me a moment and I'll be right back. I'll say a quick hello to my son. One moment, I'll be with you. Okay, folks, wanted to say hi to my son. He just got home from school and he's headed to work here in a couple minutes. So he's going to have a little snack. And I'm looking at the maps again now. We're going to look for my restaurants guide.
Browse by publisher. 365 things up. 5,000. Academy. All trails. Apple Music. 49. Atlas Ops. Blog T. Bloomberg. Boston. Bumble. One Guide. Com. Show.
Now, these are a lot of, these are like
Departures. Coffee meets bagel.
What's the word I want here?
Page 2 of 13. Page. Explore
These
guides.
are suggested guides. These are,
Grocery stores.
you know,
Guides we love.
oh, and I know why too, because I'm still in the edit field for
Hotels.
search. When you look what,
Coffee shop. Fast food. Gas stations. Restaurants. Find nearby. Head. Texas Roadhouse. 2301 Dover Road.
okay,
Harrisburg.
so what happened is I forgot that I'm still in the search edit field, so I'm getting these suggestions. If I wanted to find my guides, I'd close that edit field. But I just found a search suggestion for a restaurant I like.
Texas Roadhouse. Harrisburg.
Let's click on it.
Actions. Website. Button.
Now let's look at all the information we have here.
Mostly card map modes. Tracking. Off. Button.
If it ever seems like your map's in the wrong place, you can turn tracking on. It'll catch back up.
Mostly cloudy. 73 degrees. Texas Roadhouse. Head. 44 minutes. Driving. Button. Call. Button.
There's call.
Website. Button.
There's the website.
Menu. Button.
We can view the menu. Find out what we want. I already know.
More. Button. Hours. Open. Ratings. Rate.
You can rate the place.
Cost. $2 signs. Distance. 45 miles. Rate this place. Like. Dislike. Visited 2 weeks ago. Button. Yelp. Button.
Now, these are
Image.
photos.
Plate of shrimp and other food next to a bowl of vegetables. Yelp. Button. Image. A person sitting at a table with food items on plates.
Look at all these photos. We'll go past them.
Button. Image. A plate of ribs next to a bowl of fries and a bowl of brown sauce.
Okay, keep going.
Button. Yelp. Button. Yelp. But yep. More add photo. Button.
We can add our own.
More photos. Ratings and reviews. Button.
Here's the ratings and the reviews.
Yelp. 3.5 stars. 46 reviews.
All right, I already know I like the place, so I don't need to read the reviews. Oh, here, look at this. This is what I want to show you.
Terry C. Good to know. Heading.
Good to know about the place.
Takeout. Wheelchair accessible. Good for kids. Outdoor parking. Brunch. Full bar. Trendy. Contactless payments. Accepts Apple Pay. More. Button.
You saw all these things. It's good for kids. It's wheelchair accessible. It's got Apple Pay. Full bar. Outdoor parking.
Get the app. Heading.
There's the Texas Roadhouse app.
Texas Roadhouse mobile. Button.
So it allows me to get that app.
Details. Button. Close. But Texas Roadhouse. Hours. 3 p.m. 10 p.m. Open. Dine-in restaurant. 3 p.m. 10 p.m. Phone. +1 8. Website. TexasRoadhouse.com. Address. 1560. More on Yelp. Link. Report an issue. Button.
And there's more on Yelp. Now, depending on the restaurant, some places you'll be able to make a reservation right here. Some places you can order food to be delivered to you. If you turn on your extensions in map settings like integration with Yelp and OpenTable and Uber Eats and regular Uber and all, and I think Lyft also. So I have all my integrations turned on. But that's, that's kind of how that works. And that's a little bit, I wasn't really going to get into maps today, but praise God, that was just an idea that he gave me because we were looking already at the address for the hotel. And so I wanted to show you kind of the thought process that I would use if I wanted to find something and how I would do that. Now, we still have time to do a grocery list check here. So I'm not going to teach you, because this is a lab. It's not a step-by-step. I'm not going to teach you every step of the Reminders app, but I am going to show you a couple of things here.
Clock. 3.
First of all, I know that I can simply speak to our personal assistant, and I can add items to the grocery list that way. I happen to know we're getting low on Coffee Mate creamer. Not too low yet, but you don't want to run out of that stuff. So I'm going to just go ahead and add Coffee Mate to the grocery list.
Okay, I added Coffee Mate to the grocery list.
And you can do this with your HomePod. So if you're in the kitchen and you realize that you need something, you don't have to grab your phone and stuff. You can just speak to it if you've got a HomePod. By the way, now I want to show you that on my home screen widget.
Maps. Texas Roadhouse. Recently viewed. Image. Swipe up or down to select a custom action. Then double tap to activate. An illustration of a hand holding the smartphone in front of a green background. FaceTime, calendar, photos.
What did you notice about my home screen? The widget changed. I don't know what it was before, but it's a smart stack, so it'll automatically put what it thinks is relevant, and it put maps up there with the Texas Roadhouse featured because I just viewed it. So isn't that cool? All right. Anyway, so we've added a coffee mate to the grocery list. Let's go to reminders.
Reminders. 2 tasks due today.
Now,
Button. New lists. Back button. Grocery. Heading.
I'm already in the grocery list, so let's just go to the right.
Collaborate. Button.
We are collaborating already with the family.
Share list. More. Button. Salmon. Incomplete. In section. Seafood. Expand. Salmon. Incomplete. In section. Seafood. New item in seafood. Button.
And you hear that I can collapse the category. If I don't want to see it, I can add a new item in that category.
Snacks and candy. Expanded. Tortilla chips. Incomplete. Potato chips. Salsa. New item in snacks and...
Now, actually, we already bought, or we already have tortilla chips. I'm not sure why I had that on there. And so I'm going to go ahead and double tap it to mark it as complete.
Tortilla chips. Incomplete. Tortilla chips. Completed. In section. Snacks and candy. Expanded. Potato chips. Salsa. New item in snacks.
And you see that it no longer shows up. If I want to show my completed items, I can, and they're at the bottom of each section. But really and truly, I don't need to see them right now. So I just want to keep going.
New item in frozen foods. Priorities. New item in frozen food. Produce. Apples in Cheetos. Incomplete. In section. Produce.
Now, I'm not sure how Cheetos got in produce. I have no idea. That makes no sense to me. So I'm going to use the rotor to find the details here.
Drag item. Enter detail.
We're going to change the category.
Flag. Off. Priority. None. List. Grocery.
This is where you could also put your alerts, like location-based and time.
URL.
See?
Text. Notes. Date. Off. Time. Off. Tags. Button. Location. Off. Collapsed. When messaging. Off. Collapsed.
I'm not going to, this is a lab, so I'm not doing a step-by-step. You see where they are. If you want to be reminded at a location or at a certain date and time, you turn those on and you'll get the choices. But I want to change the category because I have no idea why Cheetos ended up in produce. Down near the bottom.
Priority. None. List. Grocery. Section. Produce. Button.
And we'll
section.
change that very quickly.
Wine, pet care, personal, pasta, meat, dairy, canned, bread, bake, other new tech oils and sauces, house, spices, coffee, selected, frozen snacks and candy.
There we go.
Home
now.
Title, cancel, can't, done, button.
Done. So.
New item in snacks and Cheetos, incomplete.
It got moved now.
New frozen foods, priority, new item, produce, apples, new item, coffee and tea, expanded, coffee made, incomplete.
And there's my coffee mate. Now that, I could be picky and I could move that to dairy because we get the refrigerated kind, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. So, that you have those choices. And if you want to manually add stuff, you can go down here to the
toolbar, new item, button.
To the bottom right and hit new item. Or if you find the section you want, you can add a new item in that section. I can just start typing items and keep pressing return each time I add an item, and it will just keep adding them, and it'll automatically sort them into categories. Then I have to find the done button near the top when I'm finally finished, if I do it that way. The other thing I would point out here is it's probably been a while since I've deleted my completed items because, we mark some things as complete when we're in the store and we put them in the cart, or in the case of today where I realized we already had tortilla chips and so I don't need that on the list, so I checked it off. But are you leaving? Okay, love you. Have a good day. We'll see you later on tonight. You need anything? Okay. All right. So I really should every once in a while check my completed items here. So at the top, there's a more button.
More button.
And if I double tap that, there's an option that says show completed items.
View as columns, show list and select items, manage sections, sort by, show completed button.
Okay, show completed. There we go. Now, what I don't really need to see the completed, but at the top now,
more button. Seafood. Expand. Clear. Button. 48 completed.
Oh, yeah. See, it has been a while. There's 48, or it could have been one grocery trip, maybe, but there's 48 completed items, and there's a clear button here.
Clear button.
You got to show your completeds to do this. And just to the right of it is clear.
Clear completed items. All completed button. Dismiss context. All completed button.
Now, the reason that's there is because if it were a longer period of time, it might say only the completed items that are older than a week or a month or a year, but we're just going to say all.
All completed. Alert. 48 completed items will be deleted from this list. Delete 48 items button.
Okay.
Lists. Back.
Now, I want to hide my completeds again because actually it's much easier when you're in the store if you don't see the completed items.
More button. View as column. Hide completed button. Salsa incomplete.
Okay, there we go. So it is now hidden. So that is, we did a lot today. Man, we really did. We showed you how to add an event to the calendar. We even used Safari just a little bit. We'll do more with Safari, I promise, believe me. But we did just enough with Safari to wet your whistle, to whet your appetite, right? Because we see, praise God, we see that, we can use Safari to do quick searches. We used Apple Maps a little bit, my goodness. And we used reminders to edit and manage our grocery list a little bit. And, I can certainly ask SIRI what's on the grocery list and do most things with that. And reminders, by the way, so let me be very clear. Siri is excellent, and I really like Siri. But it's so important to know the apps also because, as I said earlier, you don't always get the granular level of control when you are adding things using your voice. Now, that may change. Generative AI is a real big deal. And there is a lot of speculation, rumors floating around that Apple's going to integrate some of that as early as next year. And so it might become a whole different thing where, when you add an event to the calendar, maybe Siri will say something like, how often do you want this event to repeat? Or, do you want to include travel time? Where are you going from? I don't know. Anything's possible. You never know. But as it stands right now, that's not the case. It's, fairly simple. You can add some phrases in there and usually she'll pick up on them. But I still like you to know the app because then you have all the options at your fingertips and you won't miss something. With reminders, that's actually one of the best ones with Siri, though, because you can really be very, very thorough with her. You can say something like, remind me to water the plants every Monday at noon. Or you can say, remind me to call my mom when I get home. Or, remind me to whatever. You can do those kinds of things. And certainly you saw me add items to the grocery list with the, the reminders with my voice. So that's a pretty usable, very, very useful one. Okay. So this is what I'd like to do. I would like to point out that if you don't already have a grocery list in reminders, you need to set that up. And the way you do that is in your reminders.
Snacks and candy button, lists, back button.
You go back to the lists.
Lists, more, toolbar, add list button.
At the bottom, you say add list. And then when you add the list, you're going to get some options. Like, let me show you an existing list that I have here.
Grocery, reminder, family, TTG team, Disney World packing list, 0 reminders, airplane.
Yep, that's all done now. We're back from Disney World.
Disney World packing list, 0 reminders, airplane badge, light blue.
We had an airplane.
Double tap to view list.
Now I can use the
double tap and hold.
I can use the long press here to get some list actions.
Pen. Button. Show list info. Button.
And I think show list info.
Share list. Button.
Share list. That's how you share it with the family.
Delete list. Dismiss. Show list info.
Well, show list info. Now look at these options here now.
Cancel. List info. Heading. Done. Button. Airplane badge. Light blue. List name. Disney World packing list. List type. Standard.
That's where you change this.
Show context menu. Standard button, groceries button, dismiss context menu.
So that's where you make it a grocery list. If you create a new grocery list, that's how you turn it into a true grocery list.
Color orange
and
list type, standard colors, red. orange, yellow, green, selected, light blue, blue, indigo, pink.
There's a lot more you can do here. Icons,
House, TV,
all these different things. But
cancel,
the main thing that I wanted to show you was that
more, button.
if you want to create a new grocery list and actually use it in the way that I demonstrated, you might be wondering, well, how do you get that? Well, that's what you have to do. You have to create a new list, call it whatever you want, grocery, shopping, whatever, and then use the list info to make it an actual grocery list. That's going to be one of your assignments. I'm going to give you 2 assignments. I want you to add an event to the calendar. I'm not going to specify how detailed it needs to be. If you feel comfortable and you can try adding locations and alert times and all these things, that would be wonderful, because that's the best experience. But if you're brand new to this and that's just overwhelming and you just would be happy to get something basic on the calendar, then that's fine too. And create yourself a grocery list. Go into reminders and actually create a new list, not a new reminder, but a new list. And then call it whatever you want, but go into the list info and turn it into a grocery list. And you can start playing around with that.
Here's where I'm confused. It was saying list name. What does that mean? When I went into reminders, and added the new groceries for the groceries, and it said standard, so I double tapped on groceries.
Right. Well, it wants you to give a title to the list. Mine is just called grocery. I just said, but you can put any title you want there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So it wouldn't put it in dairy or what? So I wouldn't name it dairy or anything like that?
Well, you're naming the list right now. When you add a list, you're naming the list itself. Grocery is the type of list versus standard, but then it also needs a list name so you can identify that list later. Then
so, for example, like Cliff Bar, for example, that would be, I would name it like snacks, right? For example, or any kind of granola bar or anything like that?
Those sections already exist. You don't have to do that. That's what happens when you change it from a standard to a grocery type, is that those sections already exist. And when you start adding items like a granola bar, it's going to know that that's a snack item and put it in there. Or it may put it in a section you don't agree with, and you can go into the details and change it.
Okay, because the naming the list title, like, I wouldn't know what to call it because like you said, it changes to groceries from standard.
Right. I would just call it grocery, because that's going to be the easiest thing to use, especially if you decide to use SIRI. You can say add granola bars to the grocery list and it will know. Or you call it shopping, and then you have to say add it to the shopping list, whatever the name of that list is.
Or you can also, like, if you shop at several places and you want specific grocery lists for each of the places where you shop for your groceries, you can separate them in that way.
You sure can. You absolutely can. Now, I'll tell you what I would do in that instance, though. But again, it's personal preference. I'd actually keep it in one list, but then I would put locations on the grocery items that I wanted, because it would remind me when I pass by that store, to get it. But yeah, you could make a separate list for each store as well. Definitely.
You could add colors and stuff. Was that just for different?
Yeah.
That's for tags, right?
You can make each list a different color so that if you can see, it's easier to identify that way. And you can also pick an icon, like when we did the Disney World list there, you heard that it said airplane because we used an icon of an airplane since we were going to be flying. We've got tons and tons of icons that you can pick from for each list. And then, as Sarah said, you can also tag a list too, which is useful if you have, like, let's say, I'm trying to think how you would use that. Like, maybe you have 3 or 4 different lists that would have the same tag, but for some odd reason they're on a different list, so if you tag something as bills or as chores and that sort of thing, then even if they're on different lists, you can look them up in one place too.
Would there be any way, would it be easy to transfer items from any list, or I guess I could copy them all, or somehow get them onto the Apple grocery list? Because I'll tell you why. Sometimes
that sounds like magic.
I don't know. Sometimes my husband, with his vision and Alzheimer's, will cross things off, and you can uncross. I know, but it's like what was on there. You can, and I thought if I could just like have a place to copy it for safekeeping, that might be.
Can you share
handy.
on any list?
Yeah, sure.
You can share. You can share
Yeah.
on the Apple list.
It does, right? And any list has that, but I'm trying to think of your best bet is to wait till you've just done a grocery order and completed it and you're kind of starting fresh and then use the reminders grocery list, because there's not really an easy way to copy and preserve as individual items. You know what I mean?
All I'm trying to do is stash it away. So
yes.
If something happens,
right.
I've got a copy, a backup.
Yeah. I would just
know about.
Start. Yeah. Yep.
What I do with appointments, sometimes what I would like to be able to do with the phone, if I'm someplace where we have done a meeting or had an appointment and everything in the appointment is going to be the same except the time and the date, I make a note, then I come home and I copy using my Outlook on the computer. I can just copy real easily right over to a new date and time. Can I do that with the phone?
So there are ways. It's probably not that way on the phone that's going to be the easiest, because with the calendar having so many options and different fields for things, if you just copy a note, it's not going to necessarily parse that out as well as it could. There's a couple of things that
I mean copying the entire appointment.
Well, okay. So if you want to, and in that case, what probably makes the most sense, and let me just double check. I've never actually looked for a duplicate option. Let me see. There is a copy button. And there's a duplicate button. If you long press, which I don't know if you were here for the session where we covered that's a double tap and hold, or a triple tap if you just want to do 3 quick taps with voiceover on a particular event on the calendar. There's a copy option and there's a duplicate option. Now, I will admit to you that I've never used either with calendar, so I don't know exactly what the next step is going to be. Probably if you copy it and then you create a new event, you'll use paste in the rotor under edit. That would be my thought. There's another way you can do this too. And that is that once you have an event on the calendar, if you start typing the name of an event, so let's say that my event title is, it's my birthday tomorrow, I'll say birthday dinner. Okay. So if I put that on the calendar one time and then I go to schedule it again next year, if I start typing birthday and I swipe to the right, it's going to know that previous event and it's going to suggest it again with the same attributes, and you can just change whatever is different about it. So that is one way to do that. And then the other way is, as I said, there is a copy option and a duplicate option. I've never used them, so I'll have to play with that a little bit to know what they do and exactly how to use them. But yeah, that is available as well. Thanks to everybody for joining us today. God bless you all and have a great weekend. And we are going to be back on Monday. So take care, everybody.
We'd like to thank you again for joining Voiceover In&Out 2023. Didn't get your question answered? Need additional training? Send us an email at support@ttjtech.biz or support@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with the U. That's STURITUP.com. I'm Trainer Cliff. Thanks for joining us and see you next time. God bless.